Imagine waking up in the year 2030 and realizing that the most valuable resource on Earth is no longer oil, gold, or technology, but water. Clean, drinkable, life-sustaining water. This is not science fiction. This is a scenario experts have quietly warned about for years. And if global trends continue, we may be dangerously close to living in a world where a liter of fresh water costs more than a liter of gasoline. So what would happen to countries, economies, armies, and even everyday life if water became more valuable than oil by 2030? Let's break this down step by step based on real scientific projections, current global shortages, and geopolitical tensions already forming today. By 2030, the United Nations predicts that 40% of the world will face severe water scarcity. Rivers are drying, glaciers are melting. Groundwater is being pumped faster than nature can replace it. The world population will hit 8.6 billion, and climate change will accelerate both droughts and heat waves. Now imagine the price of water skyrocketing. Not just in deserts, not just in poor regions, but globally. At this point, water becomes the new oil, and the global economy flips upside down. Just like the Middle East became rich due to oil, the countries with massive freshwater reserves suddenly become global superpowers. Canada, Russia, Brazil, Norway, New Zealand, these countries hold some of the largest freshwater sources on the planet. In this new world, their rivers, lakes, and glaciers become more valuable than oil fields. Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, South Asian nations like Pakistan and India, African countries dependent on rainfall, states like California, Arizona, Nevada, major European cities already running dry economies that once controlled oil pipelines now become dependent on water pipelines. Imagine Saudi Arabia buying water shipments from Canada, or India paying billions just to sustain its cities for 1 month. This world is not that far off from real projections. Whenever something becomes extremely valuable, crime follows. In this world, water mafias control access to wells, criminal groups hijack water trucks. Countries create militarized water borders, black markets sell illegal groundwater. Desalination plants are attacked for political leverage. This is already happening in parts of Mexico and India today, just on a smaller scale. But in 2030, magnify this by 100. Water becomes not just an economic resource, but a weapon. The first major collapse happens where water demand is highest and infrastructure is weakest. Top cities at risk in this scenario: Los Angeles, Cape Town, Karachi, New Delhi, Sao Paulo, Istanbul. These cities contain tens of millions of people. Suddenly their taps run dry. What follows is chaos. Mandatory water rationing, government-controlled water schedules, water riots, mass migration, huge spikes in food prices, outbreaks of disease. Imagine waiting in line for 6 hours for 10 liters of water. Imagine showering once a week. Imagine civilians fighting over water distribution trucks. This would be the new normal. If water becomes more valuable than oil, conflict becomes inevitable. Rivers that cross borders become political weapons. Examples: the Nile, Egypt, Ethiopia, Sudan, the Indus, India and Pakistan, the Mekong, China and Southeast Asia, the Tigris and Euphrates, Turkey, Syria, Iraq. Every major river becomes a battlefield of diplomacy, sabotage, and military pressure. By 2030, these regions could see dam sabotage, military blockades, drone surveillance of rivers, clashes, countries threatening war over water rights. This isn't hypothetical. These tensions already exist today. A world where water becomes more valuable than oil simply makes them much worse. In this future, the richest people on Earth are not tech entrepreneurs, but owners of desalination companies, water purification tech, large-scale groundwater facilities, atmospheric water generators. Water storage infrastructure. Water becomes a corporate empire. Companies like Veolia, Suez, Nestle, Coca-Cola could become more powerful than oil companies today. They control access. They control supply. They control pricing. And with water scarcity rising, governments become dependent on them. The world now moves according to water geopolitics. If water becomes more valuable than oil, your daily life is transformed. Showers become expensive. Laundry is limited. Lawn watering becomes illegal. Crops need water. Without cheap water, food becomes twice as expensive. Imagine a 1-liter bottle costing $15, $20, or even $30. Governments issue smart cards that track your daily usage. Millions migrate from dry regions to water-rich nations. Canada, Russia, and Northern Europe experience population surges. People wear clothes designed to keep them cool and reduce sweat loss. AI-controlled water regulators, ultra-low water toilets, air-to-water generators. Recycled shower systems. Water becomes a measurable part of everyday living, every drop tracked. Factories shut down because industrial water becomes too expensive. Beverage companies go bankrupt. Livestock farming becomes impossible in many places. Food chains collapse. Airlines cut flights due to low water supply for cleaning and maintenance. Tourism drops as cities restrict visitor water use. Entire industries die. Meanwhile, new ones rise, focused solely on water management. Yes, but it requires massive changes. Solutions that become mandatory in this world. Countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia already rely on this. By 2030, the world must build thousands more. Cities must recycle 90% of their wastewater, like Singapore. Massive pipelines carry water across borders the same way oil pipelines do today. China already uses cloud seeding. By 2030, many countries could follow. Governments regulate how much water each citizen can use. Hydroponic and aeroponic farming becomes the norm. Green roofs and smart drainage systems become mandatory. If humanity adapts fast enough, the world might avoid collapse. But if it doesn't, if water becomes more valuable than oil, does inequality rise, or does human innovation save us? Will the rich drink clean water while the poor struggle to survive? Or will technology give the world a second chance? The answer depends on what we do right now, because if current trends continue, 2030 is not the future. It's the warning.